right, I just finished reading Mansfield Park by Jane Austen, and this is the first time I've ever read this one. I've read Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and Emma before. This is the first time I'm reading this one. And I was really, really impressed with this one. This one isn't talked about a lot in kind of, classic book circles or even Austen circles. I think people find this one a little divisive, and I can see why, because Jane Austen is primarily, her work kind of is like the prototype for a lot of kind of the romance novel genre. And Pride and Prejudice definitely works as a romance novel. Sense and Sensibility also kind of, but because it's an early book, it doesn't really stick the landing. But this one, it doesn't really work as a romance, but it's such a good sort of literary exploration of the foibles of human nature and class differences and gentility. And a lot of the characters are very sort of multi-layered, and everyone has good points and bad points. There's no like pure evil characters or pure good characters. There's characters are close, like Mrs. Norris is pretty unpleasant, but she's also, it does talk about how there's some things that she does that are good. And then we've got Fanny, who seems to be sort of like this perfect, virtuous, kind character, but she doesn't stand up for herself. She's a little judgmental in terms of class, and it takes her a while to kind of figure out sort of her own value and her own worth. And so the sort of, happy ending feels a little like it kind of happens because it has to happen sort of thing, because we want Fanny to be taken care of. But in terms of the relationship, it's not a super neat and tidy happy ending. But I still really, really loved this one just because the characters are so good and the plot is so meticulously crafted, and the way that it contrasts different locations, like the difference between life at Mansfield Park and life at Portsmouth is night and day, and it's so good. The descriptions of just the feel of the place and the energy and the people, and the difference between sort of the genteel criticism she gets from the upper class people who are sort of quietly vicious, and then the more openly hostile people that she meets. It's just, this was really, really good, and it definitely feels kind of almost like a Charles Dickens novel in a prototypical form. So Austen blew me away again. I really enjoyed this one.